Hey, hi, TJ Pandora Tier here. Sorry that this has been so late. I was supposed to do this on Friday, and then we got swamped over at the shop. Then Saturday came, and we got swamped at the shop, and there were crystals everywhere, and there was sage in the air. So it was just like, ah! So I'm really, really sorry. I was supposed to get this. I was trying to record it actually over at The Dragon and the Rose. And if you're interested in The Dragon and the Rose, go to thedragonandtherose.com. It is the awesomest occult store in Santa Ana, California. I apologize because I had this all written out, ready to rock, and every time I was trying to talk or record, it was like instantly Bon Jovi's Wanted Dead or Alive would come on, or AC/DC's Hell's Bells, and it was like shufflemancy at its highest peak. And if you don't know what shufflemancy is, it's basically something we'll get into on another day. I'll tell you another day. I'm aiming for next week. Okay, so I did get asked for some questions, and you have provided. So I have this, and this comes from Nicole from Southern California. And it says, Dear Auntie Pan Pan, what is a Ouija board and what is it used for, and what or how is the best way to use it? The history of the Ouija board. Oh, great divination board. They never get dull, do they? They seem to end up in tons of stories, horror movies, fiction, non-fiction, paranormal television shows, you name it, it's got it. And they seem to have a certain stigma to them. Ouija is linked, actually. Ouija, yes, is linked with two particular, and sometimes even maybe three, forms of divination in one source location. It's wrapped up nowadays in a pretty little plastic bow that you can find at any toy store or not convenience store. That would be kind of cool, though, to be able to get a Ouija board at 7-Eleven. The 7-Eleven Ouija board. I would so buy that. The one I want is a neon pink one. I've seen it's kind of, some people call it the Barbie glitter board, Ouija board, spirit board. It's a Ouija board that's hot pink and it has glitter all over it. I want that so horribly bad. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the Ouija board, shall we? Okay. The reason why, we need to back up the time travel machine a little bit. Ouija is kind of a triple threat when it gets into the paranormal. Not being the skeptic that I usually am, but the earliest beginnings of divination boards or divining boards or spirit boards, it's not actually using the board at all, but a form of automatic writing in China around 1100 AD. It was during the Song Dynasty. But their type of automatic writing was called Fuji Planchette writing. Now, Planchette writing is considered by some as very, very scary because it's viewed as a form of necromancy. Ooh, necromancy. Or speaking with the dead. Which was a popular thing to do at the Quezhen school that was a branch of Taoism, which is a very cool religion, or not even a religion, it's a cool way of life, that originated in northern China in the Jin Dynasty, 1115 to 1234 AD. I've read a lot about this. I've actually made a book report on this. Now, automatic writing. I'm going to turn the volume up here, so I just want to make sure you can hear me, because we know me, I kind of quaffle. I'm a quaffle. Now, automatic writing became forbidden in China during, believe it or not, 1644 until up to 1912 AD. That's a pretty freaking long time. This did put a damper on Taoists that did use a form of automatic writing to write their sonnets and the Tao Zhang, which is the Taoist canon of faith. And that's about 1,000, maybe 1,100 texts of Taoist transcriptions, writings, all the way back to 400 AD. Now, some of the Taoist texts can be partially aided. They could have been influenced by automatic writing. Early forms of automatic writing, by the way, have been founded in Australia, India, New Zealand, you name it. It's been there. Some form of a automatic writing kind of thing. But automatic writing didn't get its woo heyday until dun dun da, the spiritualist movement. Ah, yes, the spiritualist movement. Spiritualism is the belief that we can speak to the dead from beyond the veil, beyond the shroud of death, because they are in the spirit world. Humanistically speaking, playing devil's advocate for all my psychic friends out there, spiritualism seems to become more popular. This is from pure sociology observation of human instinct. Spiritualism becomes very, very popular during high crises or during wartime and heightened health crises and terroristic crises. Whatever trauma that people in lump sums seem to die more in droves than necessary, like cholera outbreaks of the 1800s, plague of the 1200s. Spiritualism does come to the forefront for those left behind and still living to want to talk to those that are already gone and left us. Is spiritual real or not? Is spiritualism real or not? I don't know. That decision's up to every individual that has to formulate their own opinion. I think it's a little bit of both. I would like to believe, now I know skeptics hate the psychic realm, and those in the psychic realm don't like the way skeptics make them have to prove everything. I get it. I get it, guys. I get it. Time out. There has to be a middle ground somewhere. You guys have to have some sort of, it's partially skeptic but partially open. You know, you gotta work together to make the boat row. So that's just my opinion. As the spiritualist movement began picking up more momentum, right after the Civil War, remember what I said about death and massive crises, or the Victorian Age of England, crises, medium psychics. I will get into on another podcast, another vlog, how I feel about some psychics. Not today. Not today. Psychics, mediums just started popping out of the woodwork everywhere. They were getting messages from the great beyond. You know, Great Aunt Tilly was calling me and she told me that you know, okay. The Fox sisters, that's a story for another day regarding psychic. Some people, individuals claiming to be mediums, whether they were real or not, we're making money hand over fist. Let's just be honest. In the land of Make-A-Buck, in the land of Camp Make-A-Buck, there was a lot of them making extra dough, or it was their side hustle. Let's just be real, shall we? You know, they were making money hand over fist talking to the dead. Okay. They were at salons, parlors, vanity shows all over the globe. Sadly, unfortunately to say, most mediums were really kind of just heartless charlatans, milking the money machines while they could. You know, and it's horrible to say that, but, you know, I've seen it where psychics are, oh, I'm talking to your great aunt and or your sister, brother, cousin, mother, father, nephew, your dog. I'll talk about that another day too. And, you know, they want me to tell you that they're okay and it wasn't your fault and they're really sorry. You know, I just told you that. Congratulations. You don't need to pay to see a psychic. Well, being that mediums were becoming more and more popular and things like that, it became obvious that they wanted to do it more at home. They wanted to have more, you know, parlor fun time instead of having seances and things like that. So what could they do to design something where they could have it at a party, to do some sort of, it's a party, but we want to talk to the dead because that's a trendy thing to do. Out pops the board at this time. And like, now at this time, this was 1890, 10 years to 1900. So close to the end of that century. The Ouija was born. It wasn't called that though yet. There was divination or talking boards or spirit boards, or not oracle boards. That was called, well, oracle board, sure, you can call it that. Someone else later on decided to call their board an oracle board. Whatever. Call it like you will. Call it like you see it, baby. All across various spiritualist communes all across America. But there's one board to rule them all. Yes, I said it just like for Lord of the Rings, but one board to rule them all. And that would be the Ouija. The Ouija was created, not the name, the actual design of the board itself, Planchette with board, was created by businessman, inventor, and lawyer Elijah Bond. Now, Elijah Bond, he liked to patent everything he thought about. He had patents coming out the woodwork. You know, he had this really good idea, this brilliant idea of taking a divination board and putting a planchette with it. Hold on a second. And I'm back. Ha-ha. Now, to show you what a planchette is, this, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, my fellow travelers, this is a planchette. Okay, this is a planchette, which is basically the wooden device to go toting across the board that you see nowadays. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. This is a talking board, a divination board. Please ignore the candle wax on it. I'm so sorry. This was made for me. This was a present from the artists at Wolf and Bear Arts, and I love it. I totally love this board. I've had this for a while, and if you can find Wolf and Bear Arts, they totally do laser work on their stuff. I love this board. I love this board. Anyway, Elijah Bond. Elijah Bond had a brilliant idea. Before people were just using talking boards with pendulums, and he wanted to take a divination board, which at the time they were using did not use planchettes. So he wanted to take, most of the time divination boards were being used with either a pendulum or a shot glass or a water glass. Now, I do have some trivia for you that you probably won't find anywhere. Absinthe, whoa, I got fuzzy. Look at the shiny thing. The shiny thing sees all. Okay, sorry about that. A minute I said absinthe, my camera went giddy. I think my camera's drunk. Absinthe or aperitif glasses was the perfect and most popular item to use on a divination talking board at this particular time in history. Do you know why? Because in parlors and salons, they were just the right size to pinpoint only one specific letter or number on the board at one single time. Shot glasses were also used, and a lot of people say don't take a shot after you use a shot glass on a board. That, whatever. If that's your thing, fine. If not, take a shot. I don't think the alcohol gods are going to care. Your choice, your call. I don't know. This is all for entertainment purposes only. I don't know. I'm just giving you knowledge. Again, everybody, knowledge. Anyway, personally talking to the dead and drinking absinthe at the same time doesn't really take rocket science to put two and two together that this is a very powerful hallucinatory outcome in the ethereal world for an endgame weird result. So Elijah Bond wanted to merge the divination board with the automatic writing of a planchette, this little guy right here, which looks very similar to the Ouija planchette we see today. But what would happen with a writing board planchette, or a automatic writing planchette, this part didn't exist. This little centerpiece that you see right here did not exist. This part was yanked out, and what would happen is they would put a pencil through it and they would write with it or draw a picture with it. And in this would be either a pencil or charcoal, a crayon, whatever. I think it makes a lovely brooch or a hat piece. That's just me. So where the screen is located at now was where the writing implement was. But now you have a hole in there, so you can see the letters, basically. So what Elijah did and patented for was to combine a divination board, an automatic writing planchette, and implement the use of the planchette basically to turn the planchette not only as an automatic writing device, but as a form of a pendulum. That's a triple threat. So I can see why some people would be a little bit scared. And then he submitted his patent, the talking board combination, on May 28th, 1890. By the way, that's Monday, day after tomorrow. So happy birthday, Ouija board. 128 years old, I think, this Monday. The patent was received February 10th, 1891, 1 year later, basically, 6 months later. Then there's William Fuld. William Fuld is a conundrum writing paradox. I've heard so many pros and cons on William Fuld. I don't know who to believe anymore, because one thing on Wikipedia says that he was the one that created the name Ouija. Then I went and looked online at the Talking Board Museum or Historical Society, and they have much more detail about it than Wikipedia. So if you're looking for more data, you should go to certain websites. I'll give them in the end, WilliamFuld.com and museumoftalkingboards.com. That's actually probably somewhere you really want to get a stepping stone at. Now, William Fuld had been a varnisher, even though he was also a stockholder of the Kennard Novelty Company as well. Some people think there was just a group of friends that got together and created the Kennard Novelty Company. A bunch of friends, a bunch of stockholders. They all got together. He also varnished and made the boards himself. I don't really know. I don't really care, but he's involved, shall we say, at the Kennard Novelty Company. Now, whereafter Elijah Bond and a cast of several other friends and individuals that wanted to take credit of the board's creation as well. Colonel Bowie, Kennards themselves. I just could not keep track anymore. I gave up. I haven't forgotten Helen Peters Nosworthy as well, so hold on. So William Fuld took over the Talking Board project in 1901. Fuld started creating his own board, but he needed to change the name. Something catchy. Kennard Novelty Company was making Fuld divination boards. It needed something. Now, Fuld called the board Ouija, as per Wikipedia. Talking Boards Historical Society says otherwise. He did not create the name Ouija. The name Ouija was actually created by a relative or a friend or a sister-in-law or so. I don't have specifics, sorry. Helen Peters Noseworthy. Now, Helen Peters Noseworthy, she was intuitive. She did use some medium stuff, and while using a talking board in the fashion, I guess, that she was friends with Elijah Bond. She came up with the name Ouija. And from what the story is that there was a necklace that also had the name Ouija on it, and she actually later on said she wanted nothing really to do with Ouija. She had a it was mischievous, I think was the thing. She's like, I don't want to deal with it. It's mischievous. It tricks us. Well, what you want me to say? So the name Ouija was actually named by Helen Peters Noseworthy, which is kind of ironic because he took credit for it. Yeah. Fold called the board Ouija. Fold stated originally that Ouija was Egyptian for good luck. Actually, in a board session that Helen Peters Noseworthy used, she also got Ouija was Egyptian for good luck. So I'm going to lean towards Helen Peters Noseworthy, to be honest with you. Eventually, for some mysterious reason, William Fold changed his tune to the more popular version Ouija, which means yes, yes, which oui is French, and German is also, in German, ja is yes. So, yes, yes. Whatever. Time passes, and the Fold board became known as Ouija and stayed that way. There was a lot of quibbles, interfaced lies and backstabbings and family disputes and suing one another and threatening to sue one another and public shamings, as it were, which is ironic because this is exactly what Helen Peters Noseworthy was warning everybody about, ironically. So there you go, somebody who didn't want to say they were a medium and then in a medium session warns them to not, do this. So anyway, just as the owners of the games changed, Kennard, William Fold, Ouija Manufacturing, to Parker Brothers, to Hasbro, to what we see today, it's gone through so many different name changes and so many different, you really have to know the years of certain types of Ouija boards. You really have to study it. William Fold died by falling off the roof of his own Ouija manufacturing company, of his factory. He fell backwards on the roof of his building while a flagpole was being raised. As the flagpole raised, the man fell, piercing his heart with his own shattered ribs from falling off the building. Some people find this demise a rather mysterious circumstance. Parker Brothers purchased the company in 1966. I think actually there's a little bit more to this. After doing a little bit more research, is this basically, karma? I don't know. Taking credit for other people's work and then raking in the rewards, and I don't think so. I think accidents just happen, and it seemed to be in the early part of the 1900s, people fell off roofs all the time. So, no. Now, we have a 1915 Ouija board over at the Dragon and the Rose. It has, it's a Fold company one. And we deal with antique stores, and we deal with people that are antique dealers that deal with different types of divination boards, talking boards all the time. It's something that we see a lot of. What is a Ouija board used for, and what's the best way to use it? I don't think that using one alone is best for anybody. Just don't do that. A lot of people, what they seem to forget is that this board came at a time men and women were not allowed, especially if they lived under the roof of their parents' house, especially think of the time period you're dealing with, the spiritualist movement. Men and women were not allowed to be alone, let alone have their knees close to one another and have the lights dimmed and it's dark and it's creepy and kind of sexy. And they're touching their knees and they're holding the planchette together with their hands. And it's kind of romantic. Okay. I guess if you think about it, talking to the dead can be kind of sexy. You know. Okay. You know, so that's the way you have to really look at it. Is it a parlor game or is it just like first base? You know, it's very, you know, I don't think it's one thing for everybody. You know, I don't think that using one alone is best for anyone. It's a group effort. It's a two or more thing. Especially if anyone gets desperate for answers from the beyond. You know, negativity eats and feeds and breeds into desperation. That's the truth of it. So, I mean, look at it what it's originally supposed to be intended for. Realistically. Yes, I know a lot of people saying, oh, it's to talk to the great beyond, but it's also a parlor board game with two or more friends. Truth. On the other hand, this is viewed as a form of divination by many, with a triple boost of personality. Is it a doorway to the great beyond? I don't have the dang clue. I don't think anyone can do anything to create, you know, positive, negative energy work. The only reason to be wary of anything dealing with divination is to not get sucked into the spirit life to the point that you are no longer living your own life. Let me try that again. Do not get so sucked in to the woo-woo of the beyond and lose sight of living. That is a key issue that I hope that everybody gets from this. You know, I've seen a few horror stories, okay, for those that are dependent on divination boards. I knew somebody, they had their own perfume company. They were making a profit hand over fist. They had a beautiful company, a beautiful shop, a beautiful family, a nice home. They were in fantastic health, seriously. And then they found a spirit board. They were staying up all night, hours. They weren't sleeping on end, hours on end. And they wanted to talk to this someone, you know, in the board by themselves. And they did it by themselves. It's not why you do it. So they were just occult codependency. Occult codependency. Within 6 weeks, this person had to close their shop. Their family was now all going to counseling. Yeah. Their health was complete crap. They were not eating. Their teeth were falling out. Yeah. The kids they had ran away a couple of times. They dropped 30 pounds. They were already skinny to begin with. You know, they aged 20 years in 6 weeks. They looked like crap. And, you know, diagnosed with no actual health issues by medical doctors besides poor hygiene, horrid eating habits, severe dehydration, and fatigue. You know, luckily, their significant other went and burned the spirit board. Do I agree with that? No, of course I don't agree with it, because it's not the board's fault. It's the person's fault for putting codependency into it. It's all psychological. You know, I don't know what happened after that, but they seemed to be getting better. You know, so did it work? Yay, in this case it worked, but it worked because someone took the initiative to make it end and made a stand. You know, I don't know what happened to them since they refused to speak to me anymore, because when I warned them about their personality shift several times, they didn't want to talk to me anymore. They were done. But I did speak to their kid a few years later, and after they moved out, one of their kids just said, bye. You know, they left like about 6 months after this shit show happened. And I asked them, how did things go? They said, well, they got better, but nothing was ever really exactly the same. Well, yeah. Now, this is just one. This is just one of my several stories regarding occult codependency. Okay? Nobody's ever called it that before. I'm calling it that, occult codependency. Anyone can be anything can be used for divination. Okay? Anything. However, with occult codependency, it's the person, not the device. They're searching for something. You know, I've seen people, you know, see the future in a Starbucks Frappuccino. You know, if you can scry with it, they will come. On that note, thank you for watching. And if you want more information on actual divination boards and planchettes and some more history, I would suggest, besides Wikipedia is always a good place to start, thank you Google, I would suggest going to www.williamfold.com. I'll put it down in a link below. And also www.museumoftalkingboards.com. I think there's also, it's called something else. It's the MTB, I don't know, but look it up. You know, there's a few people that really do this for a living. They research and they save them. I think his last name is Munch, but you can find this out online. Also www.mysteriousplanchette.com. So thank you for watching, and I will thank Nicole, who asked the question for this. I am going to post this on my webpage. I'll post the link to my webpage below. And because you're the question of the week with Auntie Pan Pan, you get an Auntie Pan Pan patch, and I will send that your way. So if you have any questions in regards to the occult, please contact me. I will put all my contact information below. I am Auntie Pan Pan, and just wish you all Zenhugz and have a blessed weekend. Bye.